So now we are going to talk about KOTOR, or Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is probably the only time we're ever really going to cover Star Wars on this channel. So if you're a big Star Wars geek, sorry, this is going to be it for me. There's nothing else I
I
really
was
feel
thinking
like is worth covering.
for whenever we get 100, whenever we get to a 100 subscribers, we'll just watch all the films.
No, no, I'm okay.
Or we could just do like a live critique of episode one.
You know what I think would be better would be episode two. I would prefer to watch that one with you and do a live critique. I would be up for doing a audio commentary on episode two. I think that one would be fun
Do
with
you
you.
do you think two is the worst of the three?
I do.
Really?
I think it's worse. I think at least one is written well. I think one has a better protagonist. I think it has better action sequences. I think the score is better by John Williams. I think there's a lot. As much as what's his name, the kid is a horrible actor, and
Yes.
and to be fair, I think the director doesn't know how to direct a kid actor. I think that's a big problem with number one. And then Jar Jar Binks, I still think like number two on the whole is just
Horrible.
it's
Um,
so flat and so bad. And I mean,
I
like
can see it.
Yoda, that Yoda fighting scene is just so bad, so stupid, so stupid.
I might be with you on that. I mean, I'd be down for an audio commentary on either one.
I mean, you're of the
It's
right
just
age. If you said you liked all three of them, I would probably be like, all right, I'll give it to you because you're the right age. I was in my 20s when they came out.
I
And I
liked
think
them
I think
then.
that's why this movie or why this video game we're talking about is so impactful to me because the
Mhm.
movies were so disappointing. I like
Right.
three. Honestly, my favorite part of all of these is I think his name is Genndy Tartakovsky. He did Samurai Jack television show. Do you
Mhm.
remember that show? He
Oh yeah.
did for Cartoon Network. He did these little like 5 or 10 minute segments that take place between episode two and episode three. It was the original Attack of the Clones
Yeah.
cartoons.
Mhm.
Um,
Those
and
are really good.
oh my gosh, those are amazing. Those are the best thing about Star Wars at this time until we get to KOTOR. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the prequel trilogy. I'm okay with three. I have a lot of gripes with it, but it's not the
Mhm.
worst movie in the world. It's probably on par with about Return of the Jedi for me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I wasn't. I liked them as a kid, but when I watched them again later on, I was like, oh, these are horrible. Like
yeah,
just terrible.
me and my buddy a couple years ago, I think it was about 10 years ago, they re-released Phantom Menace in 3D. And I convinced him to go watch Phantom Menace in 3D. I was like, we got to go watch Phantom Menace in 3D because um, I wanted to see episode four and I wanted to see episode five in 3D. I really wanted to see those. I wanted to see like the entire original six movies in 3D. And I was like, as much as I don't want to watch Phantom Menace, we got to go support it. And so we went and watched that in 3D, and it was a slog, and it was horrible to sit through and watch in the theater again. 15 years after I watched it the first time, and, and then they never came out with any of the other ones in 3D. So I've seen Phantom Menace in the theater twice, and I regret both viewings.
I think this is the first game we've done that I have not played.
Oh, you
Um,
never have? Okay.
no, I never. Because I think originally it was only on Xbox. Is that right?
Yeah, it was on PC and it was on Mac.
Right.
But yeah, pretty much it was
Well,
an Xbox exclusive in terms of consoles at the time. So it was written by, let me get to my KOTOR notes. It was written by a guy named Drew Karpyshyn, I think is his name. So he went on to write the first two Mass Effects games. So two of the best RPGs in my mind, along with this one. He also wrote a game called Jade Empire, which is really, really good. He actually wrote some tie-in novels, which I read one of them called. It was just it's about Rev, and it takes place after this. If you if you like that kind of stuff, that was a really good novel. And then it was directed by Casey Hudson, who did all of the Mass Effect trilogy. So this is BioWare starting out. It's the guys that would later go on to do, I mean, and you can see the DNA in this game, or you can see the DNA in Mass Effect from this game. Like it's a different gameplay. It's an action RPG in Mass Effect, whereas in this one the action elements in this are set up just like a D&D role-playing game. So in the background, whenever you make an action, it's rolling a d20 for you, and then based on your character's stats, it's determining whether or not you made the hit and then how much damage you did and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very much, even though you don't actually see that, it is very much a D&D game in terms of the mechanics and what's happening in the background, which I didn't realize that the first time, and I was just kind of spamming the buttons and playing through the game for about 5 hours until I kind of realized what was really happening and what was going on. Um, but I loved this game. Probably one of the best Star Wars stories out there. Um, there's obviously a twist. It's been long enough. It's been 20 years now. Um, Most people know what the twist is. Um,
Um, I don't know, but go ahead and tell me.
so the twist is your character is a former Sith Lord.
Ah.
So you find that about 3/4 into the game. It's a pretty
Mhm.
big reveal, pretty dramatic moment. Because your character kind of wakes up on a vessel. You don't know what's going on. It's under siege. And so you're fighting your way out, and you meet up with, I think it's a fighter pilot, and then a Jedi um, Guardian or Sentinel. I can't remember what she is, Bastilla or whatever her name is. And you start playing through the game almost immediately, like you're in the action immediately. But you have amnesia. You don't know what's going on, and it turns out that the Sith are actually attacking your vessel. And so Darth Malak and Darth Revan are two Sith lords who have kind of gathered the Sith together and are making an advance on the Republic at this point in time. And so your mission now is you get you get a band of ragtag people together, droids, and you got a Wookiee, you got a Jedi with you, and you're trying to take down the Sith. Is basically what's happening. Um, and you start out, you're a scout, you're a soldier, you're a scoundrel. Those are the classes you get to choose from at the beginning. And then as you advance through the game, it turns out that you are force sensitive. And so they take you to go get Jedi training, and there's Guardian, Sentinel, or Counselor, or the three classes of Jedi you can choose to be. But then this game also has an alignment system very similar to Mass Effect. Did you ever play Mass Effect? Any of those games?
I played the first one.
So you know how you could be a Paragon or you could be the bad guy, and it would like red or blue. It's the same way in
Right.
this game. And so decisions that you make choose whether or not basically you're a Jedi or you're a Sith. And actually, like depending on how deep you are in those in the alignment system, depends on what kind of powers you can unlock as a when you actually get to the Jedi when you become a Jedi. So if your alignment is more Sith leaning, you can unlock Force Lightning and you can unlock I think Saber Throw is actually considered like a dark side power. So
Mhm.
there's dark side powers and light side powers in this game, and like heal is a light side power, and like there's just all sorts of stuff like that. I think you can like steal people's. I think one of them is you can like steal people's like health from them and like hurt them, and that's one of the powers. There's all sorts of cool powers, and it really makes like playing through the game a lot of fun because you can kind of play around with the powers and find out what you want to be. Um, it also kind of like Mass Effect, where you can really put yourself into the game and you can kind of make decisions based on what you really think is
Hmm.
the best decision to make in a moment, just like Mass Effect. And and you see the consequences of those actions immediately, and you see that, okay, well, I thought this was a moral decision, but it had a negative outcome and things like that. So really, I mean, like in terms of role playing, it is true role playing, or you can just have fun and decide, hey, I want to murder the galaxy, and you can just kill everybody and become the ultimate Sith and unlock all the Sith powers. Um, One of the big things is you mine for kyber crystals, and you have to build your own lightsaber, and you have different hilts, and you can build all these different types of lightsabers. And Yeah, it is such a fun game to play. It's pretty in depth. You're going to put a good 5 to 10 hours into it before you ever really unlock Jedi stuff. So you really have to be willing to invest the amount of time. And I think the story, I think the characters are, I mean, just like Mass Effect, like everything is so well written. All the characters are so well written. Like you want to do all the side quests. You want to find everything in the game because everything is so interesting that it's worth exploring. And even in the most, the smallest detail, there does feel like there's meaning and there was intent, and the writer, you know, was expecting you to find this and wanted you to be as enticed by this little piece of information as the main storyline, and you get that. It's just a very, very well constructed game, very well thought out. Again, the story is great. So I think it's up there as one of the best RPGs in my opinion of all time. It's really an excellent game.
That's what a lot of what I was reading online and the videos I was watching, they were all saying that. Um, and it's set, it's set like 4,000 years before the movies. Is that right? Like
Yes.
way before the movies.
Yeah, and so this is the Old Republic. Um, I mean, based on this one video game, we got a sequel, we got comic books, tie-ins, and then there's that MMO that is in loosely the third part of this game. I don't think it's any of the characters. I don't think it's any of that, but it's the third iteration of this game. It's kind of set in the same time period.
Mhm.
Um, and there is a remake in the works, and they've already talked about it's probably going to be 3 games when they do the remake. And then they've talked about turning it into a movie, so that's going to suck. But yeah,
Well, I mean, they've got to have more ideas for more Star Wars movies. Um,
no, they don't have
they're
any ideas. They're just going to start stealing. They're going to start stealing the video games. Rogue One or not Rogue One. What's the X-wing? What was the what? Not the whole X-wing video game series. They're gonna turn that into a movie, and then they're going to turn this into a movie. So
well, I mean, honestly, a lot of like the smaller films that go between that were like made between the major releases were better than the last three movies. I thought like
yeah, I didn't mind Han Solo or the Solo movie. The cinematography in it is horrible, or the lighting
mhm.
at least.
The
Um,
lighting is rough. Yeah, I don't care for that. But
I,
I,
I I don't
I
I don't understand that. I don't know what they were trying to do with that. But yeah, I mean, like Rogue One has some fun sequences in it.
mhm.
Was there another in between movie?
There was Rogue One. There was Solo.
I think there was supposed to be a Boba Fett one, and that got turned into a series.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
And
and then the
one,
Mandalorian. I never watched the third season, but the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were really, really good. Those are really good.
I'm like, I've only watched like 2 episodes. I need to get back on that.
First 2 seasons, solid, solid. It's really good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they have Gina Carano, and she's bad for some reason. I forget why.
Yeah, but they also have Bill Burr. He's bad for every reason. Yeah.
Bill Burr's in that, really?
Yeah. He shows up in actually an episode with Gina Carano. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
Bill Burr was in Breaking Bad, so I guess.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. You remember like the really really fat black guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the skinny sidekick with him. Remember when?
Oh my
Um,
God. I never realized that.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about now.
So the two guys that they go to the they
Walter
find all the
White.
money.
Yeah,
They go then they lay on the giant pallets of money. That's I did
yeah.
not even realize that was Bill Burr. Okay, that's funny.
I didn't until like way down the line. But yeah, he's actually a pretty decent actor.
Yeah, no, he was good in that series. Yeah,
He's
I
he's,
think he's
he's
only in
stepped
it for
up
like
to me.
one episode, but yeah, he's good.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, yeah, so it's set way way in the past. And I think my understanding is that they decided when they made the new movies that that was no longer canon to the timeline. Is that right?
Yeah, so there was what was called the extended universe, and
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas is just kind of cool with whatever. He just kind of gave the rights out to a lot of different people. There were a
Mm-hmm.
ton of comic books written by or at least published by Dark Horse. Some of actually were really good, really well done. And then there's a lot of books. There's all the video games because even before this one, you had the Jedi Knight games. Um, you had one that was you had a Jango Fett game before this one where you were a bounty hunter. You had one where you were a squad of clone troopers. It was like a four-man. You were in command of the squad, and you had to go through and do command. I can't remember the name of that one. That was it. Republic Commandos, maybe, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of those games, and I mean, I think there were more afterwards, obviously, and there were more before, but all of that stuff. I think even the cartoons. I think they retroactively said that the Clone Wars cartoons, not the one that Genndy Tartakovsky did, but the ones that came out afterwards. I think those are actually canon, but everything else is I think they're calling. I can't remember what they call it now. Maybe they call it. They don't call it expanded universe anymore. I don't think they call it something else. But yeah, they said all of it is just alternate timelines or something like that. I can't remember. It's just alternate. It's alternate history or something like that.
Well, every series has their own alternate timeline at this point. That's just the thing you do when you want to make more content.
Yeah, and I mean, if they wanted to make, there's so many, there's already books and comics on what happened to Luke, Leia, and Han after the original trilogy and things like that. So if they want to do more stories after that about, because it was Han and Leia had kids and Luke had a kid, I think, or something like that. Like there was all sorts of books like that, and Luke turned Sith at some point in time, and I think one of Han and Leia's kids had to go take him down. Like there was, I think it was called Dark Empire, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I read that one a long time ago. But they're kind of picking and choosing what they wanna bring in and don't bring in.
Hmm.
I think they're getting more open to bringing in a lot of the old ideas because I think they realize they've alienated a lot of the old fans.
Right.
And that's really where their money is, and the
Yeah.
lifelong fans. So
Well, I mean, it's really up to the fans to decide what is and isn't canon. I mean, if they want to watch it and enjoy it, well, then now that is canon. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's my idea. I mean, once you put something out there, it doesn't really belong to you anymore. I think that's why the a lot of what George Lucas did with remaking the movies and you still can't find um, the original edits of the original trilogy, and I really really hate that. Like they're
Mhm.
they're the they're the remake versions that came out in the 90s and with
Okay.
subpar CGI. It's just it's kind of sad that we don't get to watch the original movies. I even noticed that last time I watched the episode 3, the original Star Wars movie, that I was kind of bored with it. And I think a lot of
Mhm.
it has to do with all the stuff that they remade in it. That's just not interesting anymore.
Yeah, but
It looks like there's a monster in my room because the cat's walking around in front of my lights. So yeah.
um, but yeah, when I was reading about this, it actually looked really interesting. I'm actually excited to give the I'll probably give the remake a shot whenever it comes out.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the remake would. Sorry, I gotta let her out of the room.
no, you're
Oh,
good.
I'm sorry, girl. She's a blind cat. Hang on. Let me help her. No, you're okay, girl. You're okay. There you go. Okay. Sorry.
Very
Okay.
good.
Yeah. So the remake is good. I think the remake's probably going to change a lot of the gameplay because I don't think the kind of gameplay that it had would really work today.
Mhm.
But also the remake is. I don't think the remake is a sure thing. So I would try to play. I would try to play the original version if you can, which it's
You may.
on. It's
It is on Switch now.
I don't know if it's on Switch. I do know it's on. I,
It
I
came
do know
out
you
recently.
can get it on Xbox for like $10. You can get
That's
it
not
on.
bad.
I mean, I have it on my phone. I think I bought it for $10 a couple years ago. So it even plays on your cell phone. So I mean, and I think both of those versions. I think there was an extra level that wasn't in the original Xbox version, if I'm
Mm.
not mistaken. That was on the original PC versions. So there's a little bit of added content there too.
Mm.
I think I think the game is great for people who are super fans of Star Wars because I think it really builds a lot into the lore. But I think just fans of RPGs, like this is just a really, really good RPG. It's a sci-fi RPG, but it also understands the fantasy legacy of RPGs and it understands the fantasy legacy of Star Wars. That Star Wars is almost more of a fantasy series than a sci-fi series, so it does get that. So I think it holds up. I think it's worth playing. It's not something that you're going to just finish in a day and wonder what happened to your time. You're gonna put some time into it. You're gonna invest into it, and if you invest into it the way you do other RPGs, I think you'll get a lot out of it. It's a really good story, really great characters. So
Mm. Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't look forward to playing it. And yeah, look, it came out on Switch recently. I'll probably just get it on that because
okay,
that'll be the easiest way to play it.
all right, yeah,
Yeah,
get it there.
sweet, awesome. Well, do you have anything to add on this?
No, no, not that I can think of. No, I
Um,
think that's it. So next week we're doing, or next no, wait, next week. Next time it'll be Sorcerer and Final Fantasy Tactics. I believe is what we're
yes,
doing.
I'm looking forward to that one. I actually beat it again recently.
Okay.
It's fun.
I've played. I've never beat it before, so okay, that would be fun to talk
You
about.
can get it on your phone if you want to do it.
I need to do that. I saw XCOM 2 is also on my phone now. I can buy
There you
that,
go.
so I might do that too.
They've got the War of the Lions version, which basically has this like Shakespearean dialogue, which actually I think is better personally. But to each their own.
Well, we'll definitely talk about that next time.
All right.
And yeah, so we'll
Cool.
see you guys next time. Hopefully everybody's internet works, man. So.
Bye, guys. Cool.